Hey guys, Big Dave here for Tales of Telara, and welcome to Warfronts. Yeah, that's right, Warfronts! Warfronts is my Rift PvP show that takes average PvE players like myself and attempts through self-analysis to try to help us improve our performance in Warfronts. So how do we manage to do that? Well, we do that by following the guidelines. Yeah, the guidelines. That's right. You know them, you love them. Our 4 guidelines. And of course, we have our 5th guideline, our unwritten guideline, have fun. All right, it is a game after all. Let's just have a little fun, guys. This week on Warfronts, the plan had been to follow my level 29 rogue bard into Codex for some support class action. But we have had a viewer submission. Yes, a viewer has submitted a Warfront video to the show for us to take a look at. So we are going to take a look at that this week as opposed to what I had planned. Many thanks to our submitter, Xtremerogue, who is a friend and guildmate on Briarcliff PvP server. He is going to be spec'd this week into Marksman Bard, and he will be playing in Black Garden. Yes, another Black Garden episode. It's my favorite, it's your favorite, it's apparently everyone's favorite. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this week's special episode of Warfronts as we get our first viewer submission. Okay guys, let's start things off by addressing the obvious issues. Not in widescreen format, diminished quality. We're only running in 720p this week. That is going to be due to the source video. Now this video was taken with Rift's in-game YouTube feature. You know, the quality leaves something to be desired, but then again, this video was uploaded and then re-downloaded from YouTube, so we're going to lose something in that process as well. So Xtremerogue starts out with some good advice. Get the Fang. Keep the Fang and whoop Defiant $. Couldn't agree more. We start off by heading, as we always do, to the center. And we are going to stake a nice claim to the center, not running into it too much, just hanging out right on the edge, but doing more to claim it than the Defiance. Here we go. Quick grab of the Fang for the Guardians, and this is started. Our hero, Xtremerogue, is going to fall back now and serve his support role, playing his role, support. He knows he needs to fall back, and he does it just in time. A very annoying warrior here, giving the Fang Carrier fits, running around just a little bit aimless here, but quickly getting back on task in defense of our Fang Carrier, taking down all the harassers, moving up, unfortunately, into an AoE. But, you know, it's going to happen from time to time. Well, it happens again, so it's definitely going to happen time to time, or twice in a row. But that's what this series is about. Warfronts is about PvE players, of which Xtremerogue is. I know the guy, and he's in my guild, and he is a PvE player who PvPs for fun. And there's no reason that we can't be good or trying to be better at something that's fun. Just because it's fun doesn't mean it's a throwaway. And that's what he's doing here by submitting his video. He is immediately back onto task, playing that role fantastically in support of his Fang Carrier, giving the harassers all of everything he can. Green numbers flying everywhere for health. That warrior is back. A little bit of a skate around the tree there, kind of odd. Lost line of sight to our Fang Carrier. We did lose the Fang Carrier in that little tree circling incident. But we're going to jump right back on. AoE again. This time we jump out of it a little bit quicker. That's better. Good anticipation there, knowing that the Fang would be returned to the middle. A nice use of his Verse Fascination, his Mesmerize effect there, allowing his team to snatch the Fang and right back into that support role. Can't say enough about someone who is doing exactly what our hero here is doing, consistently sticking to his strength, his role. Last week, we showed a video where I didn't necessarily play to my strengths while I was trying to get better at a certain aspect of my game. This week, we're seeing a well-rounded player playing towards his strength. There comes that warrior again. The warrior is definitely the standout on this team. He is... Paragon? Is that a Paragon? He is definitely the standout on his team. He is pushing forward consistently And because he has no support, he's generally just dying a horrible death. But that's because the Guardians are playing their roles, they're sticking with their Fang Carrier, they're doing everything they need to do to succeed, and the Defiants are, for the most part, allowing themselves to be controlled. They're fighting the battle where the Guardians want them to. All of those casters are out at a distance. The Fang Carrier is safe, out of line of sight, behind the tree. So, again, can't say enough about playing your role. More cadences going out, more motifs. Not quite paying enough attention to the Fang Carrier. Fang Carrier does drop here, but our teammate recovers quite quickly. We're going to stick again close to the Fang Carrier as possible. As a support class, I feel that that's something that you need to be doing unless you're actively going out with a group trying to support that small group. You need to be with your Fang Carrier. Again, we lose line of sight around the tree. The tree is proving to be a bit difficult for our hero here. But an amazing comeback here. Fantastic knockback, allowing his teammate to recover the Fang. Can't say enough about that. Thinking on your feet, using the abilities that you have at your disposal to benefit your team as much as possible. Now again, more healing going out with cadences and whatnot. A little bit of downtime there, a few seconds where we weren't really acting. Would have liked to have seen that a little bit different. Do end up with a death there. So what are we seeing so far in this video? We're seeing a known PvE player, a level 49, who's been through the paces, at least when it comes to PvE, putting on a decent PvP performance. He's playing his role very well, sticking to his Fang Carrier. Now, eventually what the Defiants managed to do was get together and stop being controlled. They pushed forward as a group, they broke the line of the Guardians, and they got the Fang. Fantastic. Maybe they learned a little something. Now, our hero here is not quite aggressive enough. He's playing a little bit into the hands of the Defiant. He is fighting with the first line of defense. He is not quite going for the Fang. There we go. Moving towards the Fang Carrier now. But again, having trouble with that tree. Definitely the tree is our hero's weakness. But he's finally going to navigate that tree. And again, a nice knockback, keeping the Fang Carrier away from his support. And there we go. Drop of the Fang, and immediately our hero starts dishing out damage and support healing so that his team can grab the Fang and pull it back to safety. Now he's going to continue to harass this pursuer, doing everything that he can to either kill the pursuer or peel the pursuer off. And there you have it. That's a peel right there, ladies and gentlemen, because he's moving in the wrong direction. So even though we're going to lose our hero here, he did manage to separate that pursuer from the Fang Carrier. Fantastic. That's exactly what we want to do. Quick bit of advice here from our hero. Get the Fang, keep it. Okay. That is definitely a good bit of advice. Moving forward here, unfortunately, the Fang damage and the aggressiveness, the newfound aggressiveness of the Defiant team is going to be a little too much for our Fang Carrier. And here we go. We do manage to grab it again. The Defiants trying to wrench the victory away, but it is just too close. 468, 470. Moving forward. Ticking points up, ticking. A lot of good harassment now. You notice how the Defiants are playing much, much better. There are 4 or 5 people concentrating on the Fang Carrier. This was not happening earlier. If this had been happening earlier, this game could have gone very differently. Instead, with that last Fang grab from the dwarf lady there, we are going to see a victory. And what does our hero have to say about that? Well, quite simply, that is how you win. Triple exclamation mark. I agree. That is how you win. All right, guys. So there we have it. Our first viewer submission. I liked that a lot. Let's talk about what we learned today. What did we learn? Lessons learned. Well, we learned that the things that we study in the 20 to 29 bracket, in the 10 to 19 bracket, they still apply at the high levels. Control. Oh my God, can I say it enough? Control is still king. It doesn't matter what level you are. If you and your team allow yourself to be controlled, like the Defiants did in the first part of that match, you lose. As soon as those Defiants decided that they were no longer going to take the battle on the terms that the Guardians were setting, they actually started a comeback, but it was too little, too late. What else did we learn? Well, we learned that we still have to watch out for AoEs, frankly. But to expand on that, what we learned is that as the levels expand, as you get higher into the brackets in PvP, there's a lot more stuff to watch out for. So it's important in your early PvP experience to learn just instinctively to move out of that stuff, because you're going to start to have so many things, different abilities coming at you from different classes, that when you see something on the ground, if you can't immediately identify it as non-threatening, move away from it. This week we also reinforced a lesson that we've learned before, which is playing your role makes you very effective as a teammate, and it helps your team to victory. We saw our hero Xtremerogue playing his role as a support character, and hey, his team won, and it was a pretty decisive victory, in part because he stuck by his Fang carrier and he kept the cadences and motifs rolling. And finally, we learned that, well, trees are big and they break line of sight, don't they? We had a little bit of trouble with environmental hazards this week. Watch out for environmental hazards. As effectively as the Guardians used the tree to line of sight the Defiants and hold on to the Fang for the majority of the match, the line of sight issues with the tree also sprang up for our hero a couple of times, actually 3, I think. So then the thing to remember there is, as much as line of sight can help us, it can also hurt us. So let's be aware of all environmental hazards and respond to them appropriately. And with that, I'm going to deem this episode of Warfronts a success. Our first viewer-submitted video has been put into the books. There you have it, Xtremerogue, our hero. Many thanks to you, many. If you'd like to support Warfronts by submitting your video, you can contact me on talesoftelara.com. That's right, I'm more than a YouTube channel, you know it. You can also hit me up on bigdave at talesoftelara.com or send me a message here through the YouTube. So, barring any surprise viewer submissions, we'll pick things up next week with Warfronts. We will be back on one of my characters. Since we had our dose of support here this week with our hero Xtremerogue, we will forego my planned support episode, and we will move on to some kind of a damage dealer. I'm not sure what. In fact, I'm thinking that I may spec into a brand new spec that I've never played before, so that you can laugh at both my PvP shortcomings and my inability to understand a new and unfamiliar spec. Okay guys, that's going to do it. I have been Big Dave as always, talesoftelara.com, more than a YouTube channel. Check it out, and in the meantime, take it easy.